introduction, I had always liked men who looked noble like kings, so I actually wasn't going hard after Asela, a Sri Lankan I had met online. I was going for the gentleman from Taiwan who was a rather tall and stocky foreigner, with a clean-shaven head and a very distinguished beard, which reminded me of King Henry VIII. In fact, he was originally from Macedonia, Greece, and he owned his own $1 million tool company. And what girl couldn't use a good match with some extra cash lying around? But there was something about the man from Taiwan that gave me the shivers at night. He was never home for one, and second, why did he refuse to get on the video cam? I needed to see him face to face and to hear his voice regularly to assure myself that he was real. I loved his emails and he wrote regularly and passionately, but I also could read between the lines and felt within my heart that there was something dubious about him. For example, I often wondered if that picture he had posted on the website was from recently or 10 years ago. Also, he seemed to be quite taken with beer and vodka. He was always talking about how he and the guys had gotten sloshed over the weekend. He had promised me a luxurious life full of trips and possessions if I gave him a chance, but I decided not to. I just couldn't see myself surrounded by pretty things waiting for an alcoholic to come home at night.
He made me remember my mom's ex-boyfriend from when I was 10 years old. He made a lot of money, but his breath was the worst ever. He even went to work drunk and caused an accident. That's when my mom finally kicked him out. That's when my mom finally kicked him out. That's when my mom finally kicked him out.
During this season, there were so many suitors on the horizon and it was about time. Because I was getting older than your average 20-something, but I was free, because for the first time in my life, I had actually embraced my own beauty. A kind heart and friendly smile. So actually, during that season, I could have been happy with a farm boy. But when I prayed about it, I felt God give a little nudge to my heart, not a farm boy, a family guy. Shortly thereafter, an African-American alpha male came into my life. He was everything a girl could desire: tall, dark and handsome, a homeowner, an eloquent speaker, and a world traveler whose mission in life was seeking out potential suicide victims to rescue them. But when I found out that I was one among many pretty women on his list, I moved on. However, I eventually concluded that because most men had come to Hong Kong because they liked Asian women, I needed to do something drastic. Otherwise, I was not going to marry here either. I never once thought that there would be a new potential that would enter my life in the gentlest and kindest way. A younger man from Sri Lanka who would propose marriage after only visiting him for the first time. Or that I would be moved to think about saying yes, not knowing him for more than a few months and being entirely unsure if he could even speak a single clear sentence of good English.
Have you ever dated someone who was not right for you? How did you figure that out? Write about it in the chat.
Check in next week when we talk about Asela's childhood and his family's wealth. https://www.youtube.com/@championenglishisl